Hello students. Today we are going to do the chapter Portrait of a Lady from the textbook Hornbill. The chapter is written by Khushwant Singh. The Portrait of a Lady is the story of the author. He describes his relationship with his grandmother over the years. He pens down her daily activities and how she evolved as a character as time passed by. He explains her appearance which helps create an image in the reader's mind. It is a loving tribute from a grandson to his grandmother, where he recalls about the emotional bond he shared with her. So, in Zoom class, I started with this chapter, but after that, we couldn't continue. And now I have seen that many new students have joined our group, so that is why I'm doing this chapter again. Now let us begin with the reading of the chapter. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for 20 years. Just a minute, better. Let me. Yes, 20 years that I had known her. People said that she had once been young and pretty, and had even had a husband, but that was hard to believe. My grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece. What is a mantelpiece? It is a structure of wood, marble, or stone above and around a fireplace. And portrait, we all know it's a painting or picture. So, grandfather's portrait, it hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. He wore a big turban and loose fitting clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. He did not look the sort of a person who would have a wife or children. He looked as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren. As for my grandmother being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. The thought was almost revolting means it was very hard for the author to believe. She often told us of the games she used to play as a child that seemed quite absurd. Absurd means illogical and undignified. Undignified means disrespectful on her part, and we treated it like the fables. Fables are fictitious stories with a moral teaching, and of the prophets she used to tell us. Prophets means saints. So in this paragraph, author talks about his grandmother. He says that he had known her for the past 20 years, and she had always been old and wrinkled. Wrinkled means to have fine lines on face, on skin, as you have seen your grandmother's grandparents. Then he says that Khushwant Singh was told that she was once young and pretty, and had a husband. And in fact, Khushwant Singh's grandfather portrait, it hung on the wall, in which he wore loose-fitted clothes, a turban, and a long white-colored beard that reached his chest. Grandfather appeared old, and author thought that he was someone who could have many grandchildren but not a wife or children. Why? Because he also saw his grandfather with white beard and loose fitting clothes and a turban, and he could never imagine that he was once young like other people, and he cannot imagine that he could have a wife or children, because he looked so old. He looked, at least as we have read, 100 years old, and a person who is 100 years old can only have grandchildren. Further, author could never imagine that once his grandmother was young and pretty. So it is unbelievable for him to think that even his grandmother was once a young lady and a beautiful lady. He is unable to connect to this idea. He finds this thought to be revolting, and mother used to tell him and his cousins about her childhood memories, like the game she used to play as a child. But these children, they found these stories illogical and disrespectful. Why? Because it was beyond their imagination to think that grandmother was once a child and played such games. They thought that her life stories were like the other moral stories which she used to tell them. So even if we think about our grandparents, it is the thought is revolting for us to think that even they were young and good looking, because when we started seeing them, we found them to be old with wrinkled face. Now moving further, she had always been short and fat and slightly bent. This is her physical description. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. No, we were certain she had always been, as we had known her, old. So, Khushwant Singh here says that he is certain that she was always like this, and it is unbelievable to think that she was once young and pretty. Crisscross means pattern of intersecting straight lines. Okay, so since she was very old, so many wrinkles were there on her face. Then he says that no, we were certain she had always been as we had known her. And how he knew her? Old. So terribly old that she could not have grown older. See this line. And stayed at the same age for 20 years. Why he's saying like this? Because for the past 20 years, he had been watching his grandmother um uh, in the same uh, appearance, means she is old, and she did not change in that. She has reached to a point after which she cannot grow older, and she is stable at that age for the past 20 years. So that is why he says that he was certain that she was old. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. So here he wants to say that she was not pretty. Pretty in the sense, pretty is for physical beauty. So he says that she was not physically beautiful, but she calls her that she was always beautiful, means her heart, she was beautiful from inside. She hobbled. Hobbled means walked in an awkward way. So, mother, she hobbled about the house in spotless white. Spotless white means she wore clean white colored dresses with one hand on her waist to balance her stoop. Stoop means bent. As you have seen how old people, they bend down, and to maintain their balance they keep one hand on their waist, and in the other hand telling the beads of her rosary. Telling means counting. Counting the beads of her rosary. Beads are small balls of wood, and rosary, it's a string of beads for keeping count of number of chants made for a religious prayer. देखा होगा साधुओं को माला जपते हुए. That is called beads of rosary. Now her silver locks were scattered. Silver locks scattered. Silver means it doesn't mean silver, but it is gray colored, or you can say white. Locks means hair. They were scattered. They were disorganized. Untidily means it was not neat. Over her pale puckered face, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. So her silver locks, her white hairs, they were scattered, they were spread untidily, means disorganized, over her pale. Pale means faded. Puckered means wrinkled face, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. Inaudible means unable to be heard. Yes, she was beautiful. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. Serenity means the state of being peaceful and calm. So he has compared his grandmother to a winter landscape in the mountains. So if I ask you, how do you visualize winter landscape in the mountains? Of course, it is completely covered with snow. Everywhere you look, you find it is white. So mother has been compared to that landscape. And what do you see over there? What do you feel over there? I mean, it is an expense, a spread of pure white, completely white, snow white serenity. Serenity, I told you, it is a state of being peaceful and calm. Means there you find that the atmosphere is calm, it is relaxed, it is at peace, and the mother, she is also called the winter landscape in the mountains, and breathing peace and contentment means she was a live example of a pure white peace, and she was contented with herself, means a state of happiness and satisfaction. So she has fulfilled all her worldly responsibilities, and now she was in the twilight of her life and leading a life which she has devoted to her grandson and of course to religious works. So at mind she was completely at peace, and she was calm. So that is why he says that an expense of pure white serenity. Now the next para, it talks about how they had relation with each other. He says, my mother, grandmother and I were good friends. So both of them were very good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. Constantly means continuously. She used to wake me up in the morning. Now, the routine that was followed in the village, please mark this. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous means dull and boring, unchanging tone, sing song, while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. So, grandmother, when she used to give him a bath, she continuously recited morning prayers uh, with a purpose that her grandson would listen to it, but grandson never tried to memorize a word of what she spoke, though he listened to her because he loved her voice. I listened, he says over here, that I listened because I loved her voice, but never bothered to learn it. Never bothered means cared. He never cared to learn it. Then she would fetch. Fetch means to get. Fetch means get. My wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered. Plastered means covered with a layer of plaster with yellow chalk. A tiny earthen ink pot. Tiny earthen. Earthen means made of ink, made of clay. Ink pot and a red pen. Tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. After a breakfast of thick stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. So this was the routine that was followed by them. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to a temple. So, question may be asked that why she always accompanied her grandson to school. The answer is because the school was attached to the temple. The priest taught us the alphabet and morning prayer. While the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda, singing the alphabet or the prayer in chorus, my grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. Scriptures mean the sacred writing of a religion. or you can say the religious books. When we had both finished, we would walk together, back together. This time, the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting. Growling, you know how they growl, and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. So, after finishing the school, when they would return back together, the on the way they met village dogs, and these dogs they would follow them to their home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis that grandmother gave them. When Khushwant Singh's parents they got settled in the city, they called them. And now the very important one, that was a turning point in our friendship. So when they shifted to city, that proved to be the turning point of Khushwant Singh's friendship with his mother. Why it was a turning point? Let us read. He says that although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to me school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. So that so many changes in the life of grandson and grandmother. Though they shared the same room, but now grandmother no longer would give him company to his school because he started going to an English medium school, and a motor bus would come to pick and drop him. Then there were no dogs in the streets whom she could feed as she did in the village, so she started feeding sparrows in the veranda of their house. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. So, as the years rolled by, as the years passed, these people they saw each other very less. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for the school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning of the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, and the world being around. This made her unhappy. So, as the time passed, as the years passed in the city, the interaction between them reduced. For some time, she continued to wake him up and would get him ready for school. Then she would ask him what he had learned in school that day. The scientific terminology and English words made her unhappy. So she was not happy with the scientific study and the English words that were taught in the school. And why? Because she herself didn't know the language and she couldn't help him with his lessons also. So that is why she was unhappy. She did not believe in the things that they taught at the English school and was distressed. Distressed means sad that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. So basically, she did not approve of such an education where there was no teaching of God and religious scriptures, and as a result, she became sad. Further on, when one day Khushwant Singh announced that they were given music lessons, she was very disturbed because to her music had lewd associations. It was monopoly of harlots and beggars and not meant for gentle folk. So here she was not happy with the education because Western science and other subjects they were being taught, but there was no teaching of God and scriptures. And when one day Khushwant Singh told her that he was getting music lessons, she got disturbed. Why? Because according to her, music was indecent. It had lewd. Lewd means indecent. Association means connection. Then she says that it was the monopoly. Monopoly means sole right, exclusive right of harlots. Harlots means prostitutes and beggars, and not meant for gentle folk. Gentle folk means uh, people of noble birth. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. So at this, she did not say anything, but her silence it meant disapproval means she did not agree with the teachings that was given to her grandson in the school. And after that, she rarely talked to me after that. She rarely means hardly. So after this thing, she did not talk much to her grandson. And this is the end of second turning point. Now you would be saying ki ma'am, where was the second turning point? So if you remember, the first turning point was when they shifted to the city, and though they were sharing the same room, but grandmother no longer came to school with her grandson, and also there were no dogs in the street, so she took to feeding sparrows. Now comes the second turning point where they saw very less of each other because she was unable to help her, and further she was unable to help her grandson in studies because he was studying an English medium school and she did not know much of the English. And she was also unhappy that there was no teaching of God and scriptures, and got more disturbed when she came to know that her grandson was being given music lessons, and she did not consider it to be uh, good for the gentle folk, as she thought that it was an art for the beggars and prostitutes. And since she did not like that her grandson learned music, so she stopped talking to him. Now the third turning point, I hope you have marked it. Now we will be reading about that. I'll just continue. Yes, when I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. Now that means they are not sharing the same room. Khushwant Singh, as he went to university, now a grown up boy needs his own privacy, so he had a room of his own. And as a result, the common link of friendship was snapped. Snapped means break, it was broken. It broke suddenly and completely. So, the common link of friendship. What was the common link? Because when they shifted to city, the common link was that they were sharing the same room. Though they were not uh, talking to each other much, or not seeing each other much, but still there was one comfort that they were in the same room, and that link also snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. Seclusion means isolation. With resignation means though she was reluctant to accept it, but still she accepted it. So as I said, seclusion is isolation, and she accepted her seclusion with resignation means she accepted lonely life, and she accepted separation from her grandson without objection, because she knew that of course now he's a grown up boy and he needs his own space. Now she rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. Now her whole time was being spent on the spinning wheel, and she did not talk much to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers. Spinning wheel, you all know, you must have seen charkha. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda breaking the breads into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirpings. Okay, so veritable bedlam of chirpings. Veritable, it is to describe that is interesting or unusual, and bedlam is confusion. So the complete uh, phrase means a veritable bedlam of chirpings mean it refers to the noise and confusion that is caused by the chirpings of the sparrows. Now some came and perched on her legs. Perched means sit, or you can say alight on her legs, others on her shoulders, some even sat on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. Shoot them away means by shouting or saying shoo. So she never shoot them away. It used to be the happiest hour of the day for her. Mark these words, happiest hour of the day for her, because a question is asked every now and then that what was the happiest hour of the day for Khushwant Singh's grandmother. So this is the answer, when she spent that time with the sparrows, feeding the sparrows. When I decided to go abroad for further studies. Now, till now, he was in the house, but now he has decided to go abroad for further studies. So you can very well imagine how the grandmother is going to feel now. And he says that I was sure my grandmother would be upset. He says that I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. So this line is asked for explanation, and sometimes children are not able to give proper explanation to this line. So just listen to it very carefully. He says that I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. So, can you tell me what do you understand by at her age? Yes, we know that she has grown very old, and she is in the last phase of her life. And Khushwant Singh is saying that he would be away for 5 years, and it is very difficult to tell whether he would be able to see his grandmother after 5 years when he would return back from abroad. It is very difficult to say that his grandmother would be living uh, till then. So that is why he says that at her age, no one could never tell. Children get very confused in this line. So I hope you have understood it, what it means that at her age, one could never tell, because she is very old, and at any time she could depart from this world, and 5 years is too long. So that is why he says that he can never tell whether she would be there to see him again or not. But my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. So he says that I could never tell, but he says that my grandmother could. My grandmother could means, of course, she is a very strong lady, and I mean, it is up to the person whether he takes things as they come, or, I mean, get away from them. So he says that she was not even sentimental. When he was going abroad, she was not sentimental, she was not sad, she did not have any emotional feeling. He says that she came to leave me at the railway station but did not talk or show any emotion. Her lips, they moved in prayer, her mind was lost in prayer, her fingers were busy telling the beads of a rosary. Silently she kissed my forehead. When I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So this line is very important. He says that when I left, I cherished the most moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So what he wants to say over here is moist means wet, cherished means to hold something dear, imprint is impression. So what he wants to say here that when they all reached the station, she held him tightly and kissed his forehead. And he thought it was the last physical contact with her, because as he had doubt that he's going to be away for 5 years, and at her age it is impossible to tell that she would be alive when he would be returning back. So he took that kiss to be the last physical contact between them, and the wet impression of her kiss was very dear to him. And he also says that his grandmother, she was not sentimental. So as he said that it was the last sign of physical contact between us, it was thought by Khushwant Singh. But in the next paragraph, what he says, that was not so, means it was not the last sign of physical contact between them, because after 5 years I came back home and met by her at the station, means grandmother went to station to receive her grandson. She went to see him at the station. She did not look a day older, means she looked just the way she did 5 years ago, not a day older. She still had no time for words. While she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. Clasped means hold tightly. So when she held him tightly in her arms, at that time also she did not say anything, but she was reciting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with the sparrows, whom she fed longer, and with frivolous rebukes. Frivolous rebukes means light hearted scoldings. So he says that on that day, Khushwant Singh noticed on the first day of his arrival that only sparrows would make her happy. Means that day also her happiest moment were being with the sparrows, and she fed them with the frivolous rebukes, means light-hearted scoldings. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. So mark these lines of the very important one, because since the very first day when he observed his grandmother, he saw her always busy, always spending her time in prayer, and it was for the very first time that she did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging. Thumped means hit. The sagging. Sagging means loose, hanging skins of the dilapidated drums. Dilapidated means worn out, or you can say ruin. So the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum means the loose surface of the worn out drum. So she was continuously thumping on that drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. So in the evening, she did not follow her regular routine of prayers and collected few women from the neighborhood, arranged a drum, and started singing with them. She thumped the dilapidated drum and sang along. In fact, the whole family, it persuaded her to stop, as she might get ill due to exhaustion. In the obviously we will read it now. So what she was singing homecoming of warriors, homecoming of warriors. She was considering her grandson to be a warrior. So the way the songs were sung in past when the fighters used to come back after winning a battle, so those kind of songs were sung by grandmother and the other ladies. Family says that we had to persuade her. Persuade her means request her to stop, to avoid overstraining, to avoid overdoing something or tiring herself. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. So, this is what I was telling you, that it was for the first time since Khushwant Singh had known her grandmother. This was the first time that he found that she did not pray. The next morning, she was taken ill, mild fever, and doctors told us that it would go. So, as a result of overstraining, next morning she fell ill and it was a mild fever. Doctor told the family that it would go away, but my grandmother thought differently. So, according to doctor, it was a mild fever and she will become fine, but grandmother took it differently. And why? Because according to her, she would die soon, as her end was near. What she felt was that her end was near and she is going to leave the world very soon. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter, before the close of the last chapter means before she leaves this earth, before her soul departs from this world, she had omitted to pray. She was not going to waste any more time talking to us. So, because she was having this guilt that for the whole life she had prayed, and uh, today, I mean, the last day, she omitted this thing, and now she is going to do. She will not waste any more time in talking to her family members, and she will concentrate on her last minute prayer. We protested, we opposed. Family, they opposed. Obviously, if you see that when any close member of the family is on deathbed, so that member also, that person, dying person also wants his loved ones to be around him, and he wants to exchange last minute feelings with them. But here we see the opposite going on. Here the mother, she said that she's not going to waste any more time in talking to the family members. Family protested, tried to stop her, but she ignored the protest or the request of the family. She lay peacefully in bed praying and telling her beads. So she did not listen to them, and she laid peacefully on her bed and she was chanting prayers and counting or telling the beads of her rosary. Even before we could suspect, even before they could suspect or they could doubt, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless finger. A peaceful pallor. Pallor means unhealthy, pale appearance. A peaceful of bilkul shant pallor, it spread on her face, and we knew she was dead. We lifted her off the bed, and as is customary means according to custom, tradition, laid her on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. Red shroud. Shroud means a piece of cloth that is used to wrap a dead person. So, red, what do you call in Hindi that shroud? Kafan. Yes. So she was covered with red kafan. After a few hours of mourning, We left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. So, after a few hours of mourning means expressing their sadness over the death, these people they left her alone to make the arrangements for her funeral. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher. Crude means roughly made. Stretcher here is earthy. To take her to be cremated. Cremated means to burn a body after it is dead. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. So it's evening and sun was setting, and I think you must have observed when the sun sets, and if your room is in that direction, you could see the evening light, it a blaze of golden light. So the same golden light lit mother's grandmother's room and veranda. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda and her room, right up to where she lay dead, stiff wrapped in the red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. There was no chirping. Can you imagine? Thousands of sparrows are sitting, and they are sitting silently near the body of grandmother. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. She broke it into little crumbs, the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread. Mark this, the sparrows, they did not notice bread that was thrown towards them. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So, when the body was taken away, the sweeper removed the crumbs next morning. So, we can see that the birds were so sensitive that they did not want to eat bread, but they had come over to mourn the death of the one who had fed them for so many days. With this, we come to an end of this chapter. Please do listen to it and read the chapter once again and complete the question answers if you have not done them. Thank you and have a nice day.